It is one of the UK's most famous cathedrals, but this summer marks 40 years since York Minster was engulfed by fire, devastating a part of the building which dated back to the 13th century.
Just looking behind, you forget how beautiful it is, actually. There's a new exhibition which will trace the memories of those who fought that blaze and restored the Minster to its former glory. Our reporter Alison Freeman has spoken to some of them.
It was one of the worst cathedral fires of modern times. In the early hours of July the 9th, 1984, a lightning strike on York Minster started a fire which tore through the south transept. Among those fighting the fire that night was John Mackenzie.
We got to the Minster about 37 minutes past 2 in the morning, and the turntable ladder was getting up to the rose window from the outside, but it couldn't get really high enough to apply water from the top.
So John and his colleagues used a series of ladders to gain access to the inner vault of the roof of the burning building to tackle the blaze from the inside. You must have been acutely aware when you were up there of the significance of this fire.
Yes, at one point we thought we might actually lose this fire, and we had a really petrifying sense of almost personal loss. We thought we can't let it go, and that's one of the reasons why we stayed there and continued to do what we were doing.
When it fell away,
yes,
that must have made a hell of a noise.
It did, yes. You could more hear it than see it. You could hear big sections of the vault falling to the south transept floor here. But we're not daft. We wouldn't have put ourselves in danger. And we knew we were having some good effect. And so we wanted to stay there to keep having an effect.
As the building burned, those who lived and worked at York Minster salvaged as much as they could. Stonemason John David was there.
We were taking anything out of the Minster which we could carry. Small bits of furniture, altar furniture. You'd see a sort of canon struggling with a carpet which came from the front of an altar or something like that, and you just give a hand. And sometimes you say, shall we take this, shall we take that? We were just all helping each other.
I think the chief fire officer turned up, and it wasn't comfortable with the fact that we were still in the roof, you know, from a health and safety point of view. Anyway, we probably feigned indignation at being withdrawn from the roof in the way that it was, but actually it's probably just as well that we were.
But eventually I went round to the west front and just stood outside and saw the roof collapse, which was shocking but appalling, but it evidently saved the rest of the building.
Both men have now told their fascinating memories of that night to the team who've created an exhibition about the fire that starts in the Minster this weekend.
There's shock, there's horror, there's huge emotion. There's people that came to see it the next day and just sobbed because it's such a symbol of York. And there's just a great little note about how the Dean's cat, amidst all the chaos, curled up and had a little sleep on one of the altar cloths. But there's also this overriding sense of we know we can put it back together again, and a great practicality and an immediate response in that way of just getting on with the job that is at hand, which is really impressive to look back on.
That's a very Yorkshire response as well, isn't it?
I think that's fair to say, yeah, absolutely.
The subsequent renovation took 4 years and £2.25 million, but it also had a bit of help along the way.
We've been asked if Blue Peter will design 6 of the new oak bosses that will decorate the vaulting of the south transept roof.
More than 30,000 children and young people entered the Blue Peter competition, and the 6 lucky winners got to see them being made and installed.
I like to look.
And one of those designs is being brought to life yet again as a badge to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the fire. Those that were there on the night and then carried out the restoration know they played a key part in the Minster's history.
It's always a privilege because only a few generations of people are able to get up there. And until someone decides some of the bosses need regilding or painting or something, nobody will ever go up there. So, and that could be, 150, 200 years' time. So it's unusual and you never get used to it.
You must be proud to have been involved in how much was saved?
Oh, yeah, I don't know if proud's the right word. I'm relieved that a lot was saved. There was 137 of us on that job. Of course, it was all 137 of us who put the fire out.
Alison Freeman, BBC News,
York.
It's a beautiful place.